Hi everyone, welcome to Building a Sanctuary in the Heart, a manual for the development of a personal and intimate relationship with HaShem. And this book is adapted from the Hebrew version of Bilvavi Mishkan Evneh. And today's reading is going to be Leila Nishmat, Nil Ori Ben Segalit. And it states, "Closeness to HaShem is my good. This is not merely a piece of information or a slogan. It is the reality of life. It does not merely apply to Pesach, Shavuos, or Sukkot. It applies to every moment of one's life, 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. For someone who merits cleaving to the Creator even in his sleep, 60 minutes an hour. This is the entire existence of a man. To be close to the Creator and to cleave to Him, to feel that closeness to Hashem is my good. Certainly, to live this way, one needs a clearly defined method in his avodas Hashem, in order to attain devekis to the Creator literally every moment. But before we describe this method, the purpose of life must be absolutely clear to a person beyond any shadow of a doubt. It must be clear to him that the purpose of life is to feel close and attached to the Creator literally at every moment, an inner attachment with every fiber of one's being. In other words, before we begin to describe the method, it must be absolutely clear which path we are in fact seeking and where we want it to lead us. There must therefore be an absolute clarity that the goal is closeness to Hashem is my good. This is the point that every individual must completely clarify to himself until he really feels in his soul that at this point, the purpose of life is clear without any doubt. Sometimes while a person is clarifying for himself that the purpose of his life is closeness to Hashem, he may believe and entertain the thought that in order to cleave to the Creator, one must be removed from the world and utterly detached from all worldly matters like Moshe Rabbeinu. And he should know that such a thought it's a product of the advice of the Yetzer Hara, who wants to distance a person from the truth and from the Creator. And it tries therefore to portray closeness to Hashem in black colors, and sometimes appropriate for only unique individuals, but beyond the reach of ordinary individuals such as yourself. Yet the truth is that the Ramchal clearly states the opposite, and the Ramchal, based on his work of Masel Shisharim, in the teaching of Rav Pinchas ben Yair, who starts with the most basic level, and he states that Torah study leads to watchfulness and progresses until the levels of Ruach HaKodesh and the ability to revive the dead. At the end of his work, after he directs the individual toward attaining these high and lofty levels, he writes as follows, and you, pleasant reader, must realize, as I, that I have not completed in this work all the principles of saintliness. It is obvious that each person, depending on his trade and occupation, needs direction and guidance. The path of saintliness fitting for someone who is solely occupied with Torah is not the path of saintliness appropriate for one who needs to hire himself out to work for another. Neither of these is the path of saintliness suited for someone who is engaged in commerce, and the same applies to all the details of a person's involvement in the world. Each person, according to his situation, has aspects of saintliness suitable for him. It is not that the essence of saintliness changes, for it is certainly applicable to everyone, since it is nothing other than acting in a way that pleases the Creator. However, since the conditions are different, it is impossible that the means leading to the goal will not change for each person according to his circumstances. One can be a complete saint if, due to necessity, he performs lowly work, just as much as one whose mouth does not pause from learning Torah. This must be a real necessity, not laziness about learning Torah. This needs a true evaluation to ensure that he is not has v'shalom in the category of those who have forsaken the Torah, and he must take counsel from a great man regarding this issue. It is evident from his work that one must be a pious person who cleaves to his Creator to the extent that he will achieve Ruach HaKodesh and the ability to revive the dead, regardless of his occupation, be it the Torah study or labor. This is provided that all his deeds are done truly for the sake of heaven, and he studies Torah to the extent that his time and ability allow, and he works only as much as absolutely necessary, and that too for the sake of heaven. And we see from this that anyone can cleave to the Creator, and this is not limited to rare individuals who are removed from all worldly matters. We have learned then that we've learned then that first a person must fully clarify for himself that the purpose of his life is to achieve closeness to Hashem. After that, he must be convinced that this is fully relevant to him and that he is fit and qualified for this beyond any shadow of a doubt. It's a very inspiring chapter, and it really does prove that we all can reach great levels even with what has been given to us. So that concludes today's reading, and I hope we'll all be together again soon. B'ezrat Hashem.